There's also this is like most people, a lot of people my age, like you go on Facebook a lot. Like I go on Facebook a lot. A lot of people I'm seeing like a very over exaggerated hatred of 2020. Like what do I mean by this? Okay, there have been far worse years than this one. Yes, we have the pandemic. Yes, there was the explosion at Lebanon. Yes, we nearly saw a third goddamn world war. But people seem to forget that humanity, as of the 21st century, we are literally in one of the most prosperous states in human history. We just since the invention of media, internet, and stuff like that, just a lot more of the bad news gets exposed to us. Okay, we're shown the bad news because bad news gets more views. That's it. Like, how do they call them, like, doomers and stuff like that? That's what do you think about all that shit?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a case of doomers. I just think that it's easier for people to hold on to something negative than focus on something positive because
Hmm.
negatives are typically more absolute, in my opinion and in my experience, whereas a positive, you still have a sense of mystery and unknown to it because a negative is typically something that has happened in the past that has already been solidified, but a positive, that's something that is distal in the future and thus unknown, meaning that that there's always going to be a sense of dread attached to it because you want to stay positive, but at the same time, your instincts tell you that it's something that has not yet happened. So how can you prepare for it? How will you be prepared for it? So I think what you said is definitely true. The media is definitely something it has a force to be reckoned with, and not only that, but it's also a powerful tool that people use to reach their specific goals. And in this case, with the whole negative and positive, I I mean, yeah, there's no shortage of salty and dark memes out there. I mean, everybody does their thing, of course, but uh, I always try to say it's easy to be a critic. It's very easy to be a critic. It's very easy to be negative because you can say anything. You can argue with someone that the sky isn't blue. It's light blue shade SP 15-A1 or whatever. So it's very easy to take that stance. Whereas it's not so easy to be positive because it relies on many unknowns. So that's my take on it. And I'd say to everybody out there who's overly negative, I mean, if you really are that negative, try to reflect on yourself, with yourself, and on your own what you can do to make that change. A lot of changes needed in the world. A lot of positivity comes from the self, and you can't expect everybody to be positive all the time, of course, because
Yeah,
but hey,
exactly.
that's life. But I
Hmm.
mean, being overly negative, that it's scientifically been proven that being negative or having a very negative mindset decreases your quality of life across a variety of
There
fields.
it is. Yeah.
So I definitely don't recommend taking that road because it's a long and hard road to travel on, and
Exactly.
one that you can't easily get off of.
Hmm. Like, okay, I always try. Okay, I always try to see the more realistic side of things. Okay, now
That is true.
realist.
And
Yeah, like
and that
realistically
being said,
speaking.
yeah, that being said, a lot of people tend to confuse reality with can be realistic, but there's a huge difference in being realistic,
Hmm.
negative.
Like when I told people like 3 or 4 weeks ago, when I told people that there will be another spike in cases and we might reach 500 within a month, maklaro na they're gonna call me amarga. They're gonna say I'm kind of an asshole, and sure, I might be an asshole to say that type of stuff without taking people's feelings into consideration. But flash forward 3 4 weeks later, look what the
To
hell
be
happened.
honest, I think
It's just
that's more related to denial, though.
there it
That's
is.
more of an issue of denial than an issue of being negative per se. Like predicting that at some point in the near future, there will be an event that causes mass murder, some kind of attack
Exactly.
or whatever. That there's a high likelihood of that happening. It probably will
Yeah.
happen. So in that sense, what you predicted is something that, taking everything into consideration, would have happened.
I could have been completely wrong. It was just a prediction based off of observation on current events and events that happened before.